everyone, it's Mambo, and welcome back to episode 4 of my Java game tutorial series. And first of all, let's just jump right back into our project. And today we're going to be working on image loading. So I'm going to just quickly go over a few things before we get into it. The first thing is this, and that was just me messing around with something. So ignore that for now. Actually, I'm just going to comment. It was about rotation, so just ignore those for now. But the one thing I wanted to mention was that I'm going to change ClearRect from the FillRect to ClearRect. Right now when I run the game, it just puts out a black screen, right? And for some reason it's doing that. Why is it doing that? Anyway, what we can do is we can change it from regular FillRect black to just ClearRect. What ClearRect does is it just is white. It clears it to a white screen because we're going to be putting up images on the screen, and we won't need to have a background really. So I'm just going to completely get rid of these two lines here, and yeah, so. That is pretty cool, and I'm actually just going to get rid of this stuff. I don't need it for now. But yeah, alright, so that was just rotation, me playing around with rotation. But anyway, so that should be good now. But let's just get into the actual, just test it one more time. Alright, we're good. Alright, cool. So, a few things I've done in these episodes. I have, let's just navigate to my project, Java game tutorial. Where the heck are you? Java game tutorial. All right. So in source, I've added a new package called assets, in assets, and we have music, sound, and textures. Music and sound are just empty, and I'll add stuff later. I might never even use them, but in textures we have a player icon 1.jpg and a sheet folder sheets, or this should be renamed as sheets. And in sheets, we have a test.jpg, and this is a test. And you can see here, it's just like got multiple different splats. And the idea is that you crop out the areas that you want. So, like for instance, if I wanted to just crop out this first one, I would crop out that certain section. So that's what sheet. They're called sprite sheets, but that's what they're used for, just so that you don't have to have like a bunch of different files. You can have one and then they're all stored in there. So yeah, anyway, that's what I've created, and you can see assets in here. I have this right here accessible, and the first thing I want to do is actually make this a library, make the assets a library folder. It's pretty simple to do. Just go File, Project Structure, Libraries, and hit the plus button. It might be different on a different like IDE, so just look it up for that IDE. But now we can just go click New Java Library, and then we can go in here and find our assets. Hit OK. Hit I think it's at classes. Doesn't really matter. Java tutorial game. All right, and yeah, that should work. Hit Apply OK. And now it says assets library root. I guess that's a good thing. All right. So now we can create our new class, which is going to be called image loader. So in graphics, now just so that we can access the user. In graphics, we're going to create a new class, and we'll call it image loader. Image loader, and hit OK. In image loader, we are going to first of all create a map. So it's going to be public static map. And in here, we are going to have the first one is going to be, and before we actually do this, in graphics, we're also going to create a new Java class, and this one's actually going to be a enum, and we're gonna call this, we'll just call it im type or image ID, like that. And the other thing I wanted to say is that in states, I'm going to rename state to state ID. ID. Refactor. Okay. Do refactor. Just refactor all the stuff that uses state. That should clear everything up. Yep. Okay, perfect. And last but not least, actually that's good. State ID, image ID. In image ID, we're just going to add in any type of image. So we're just going to, for now, just do water. We're going to do a player icon. And all right, so I just decided to change the sheet image to this, which is what I just created, and it's basically just 4 buttons that we can use instead of the water splats, because first of all, it's a bit more confusing to do something without, and I know what these are. These are 64 by 64 images, and this image happens to be 128, so it makes it a little bit easier. So I've just gone ahead and put in 4 more here in the enum: player button, play button, back button, exit button, and settings button. So the idea now is that we're going to go back to image loader, and I just delete this because I don't need it. So public static map, and the first argument will be image loader. The second argument will be buffered image. So basically the idea here, and we'll call this loaded images. Loaded images, and that will be equal to new hash map, like that. So now we're gonna basically fill this with buffered images, and we'll access them via the image IDs that we've made here. So I'm just gonna X that because we don't need that anymore. So first thing we're gonna do is just create a constructor in here, and I'm gonna create a class private static fill map. And basically with this fill map, and it's gonna be a void, and fill map is going to have, basically what it's going to do is going to fill this this map here, and we're just going to create a array list of buffered images. Oops, buffered images, and we'll call this button. Call this button images. Button images equals new array list. Alright, so, and I think you can make this actually just a list itself, like so. Yeah. Alright, so buffered images. So this is basically just going to be what we're going to fill it with. And now we're going to create another class private static, and this is going to return a buffered image, and we'll call it load image. And it's going to, you just need to pass in a string path. And basically what this is going to return image IO dot read image loader dot class dot get resource path. And this needs to be surrounded by a try catch. Now, basically what this does, is, and yeah, basically what this does, and if that doesn't execute, we'll return null. Alright, so basically what this does is it is going to, and I usually put these a couple lines, okay. Basically what this is going to do is it's going to take the path, and it's basically going to take the image and put it into a buffered image. I don't know really why you have to do all these weird things. Basically you're taking the class get resources. It doesn't, I don't really understand it fully, but basically what this line does is just returns, it basically puts whatever path you pass, it will put that image into here. So that's what that does. Now the other thing I want to do is private, oops, that's not what I wanted. I want to do private static void, no, this is another buffered image, I think. Yeah, buffered image, and it's called crop image. And here we're gonna have to pass a lot of things, but I want to change this and make this a lowercase l. All right. So crop image needs a int x, int y, int width, and a int height, and a buffered image. And we'll call this I, width, height, because just to make it simple. All right, so what we're gonna do is just go I dot get sub image, and we'll just go x, y, width, and height. Now, what this is doing is it's basically cropping out a section, and we're returning that. We're returning that. All right, so we're returning a sub image of whatever image you pass through. Usually it's going to be a sprite sheet, and you're going to take the x position and the y position of the image. So if I go to play buttons, it's basically if I want to crop out the play button, I'd go to 0, 0, and then the width and height would be 64, 64, and it would crop out that first image. So that's what that does. Basically, there's a simple class that just does that. And we are going to now close these two up because we don't need them anymore. This is the big class. It's going to private static, and we're just going to crop sheet. All right, crop sheet is basically just going to crop an entire sheet, and it's going to return a array list of buffered images. All right, and we're going to drop that. Okay, so it's going to need some things though. The first thing it needs is the image width, and we also need the and that's the integer. Image width, height, and I need another integer there. And actually, I'm gonna call it sheet width because that's kind of what it is. It is an image, but and then we're gonna go int num sub images. Yeah, we're gonna int num sub images x, and we're gonna go int num sub images y, and we're also gonna go buffered image. All right, so that's quite a few variables. We'll get rid of the num. We'll go sub images x and sub images y.